1969. This week in 1969, baby boomers, like me, were sitting on the edge of their beds at 9 o'clock, listening for the latest clue that Paul is dead. Hi, I'm Scoot. Yeah, this week, 52 years ago, a baby boomer generation, a young generation, was caught up in the idea that Paul McCartney had been dead for at least 2 years. And there were clues given out every night. And some of the clues were really compelling. I remember thinking, okay, I'm not sure, but this is really starting to sound legit. Maybe Paul really is dead. This was 1969. The Beatles were going through turmoil. They were close to breaking up. Paul McCartney had been doing interviews almost every week. Paul McCartney suddenly disappeared. He and Linda and the kids went into kind of seclusion on their ranch in Scotland. And so Paul was physically gone. That added to the rumors that Paul was dead. And the idea was that a stand-in had been used to prevent Beatles fans from the devastating grief that Paul McCartney had been killed in a car accident 2 years ago. They got a stand-in. And there are all these clues about the stand-in. I mean, this was really amazing. I remember this as a kid. And for you Zoomers, millennials, and Xers, this is an example of the baby boomer generation getting caught up very early in their lives in a well-known, well-orchestrated conspiracy theory. All right, so it really started to reach mainstream America this week in 1969 when a disc jockey in a radio station in Detroit took a caller, and this had been a buzz on college stations around the country, college campuses. There was a buzz that Paul was dead. And at this point, it reached this radio station in Detroit. And the caller said, if you play back the Beatles song Revolution 9, if you play that backwards, it says, turn me on, dead man. And that's a clue that Paul is dead. Was it? I mean, well, a lot of people thought so. I mean, first of all, who's playing songs backwards? You know, I mean, nobody does that. But these were the clues that the Beatles were giving out that Paul was really dead. On the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album cover, I believe there was an incident where they calculated that the Paul McCartney that was standing there was taller than the real Paul McCartney. Another clue that it was a stand-in. Toward the end of Strawberry Fields Forever, we are told that what John Lennon is saying is, Paul is... No. It's I buried Paul. Do you know what John Lennon is actually saying? He's actually saying cranberry sauce. But when somebody tells you this is what they're saying, you hear it and you go, oh yeah, it sounds like that to me. So when I heard it, I heard I buried Paul. Also, the walrus, I don't know whether the walrus is seen as a sign of death or if this was something that was just part of the whole Beatle rumor that Paul McCartney was dead. But the song I Am the Walrus, Cuckoo Cuckoo. So Paul sings this song, and it's about Paul being dead. And then in the song Glass Onion, which was on the White Album, which is always called the White Album, but it's actually titled The Beatles. Their very first album was Meet the Beatles, but the album titled The Beatles was the Beatles' White Album, more commonly known as the White Album. So in this song, Glass Onions, John sings that here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul. And those are lyrics in the song. Another alleged clue the Beatles were giving us that the real Paul McCartney had been dead for 2 years. One of the more compelling clues came from the cover of the Beatles album Abbey Road. And the cover of Abbey Road, you know what? I'm going to pull that up right now. Let's see. I know many of you can picture it. This is the album cover of the Beatles, Abbey Road. Okay. All right. John Lennon is wearing white. That was symbolic of heaven. Ringo Starr is wearing black. That was symbolic of The Undertaker. George Harrison is wearing denim, symbolic of the gravedigger. And Paul McCartney, or the one standing in for Paul McCartney, is barefoot and out of step with the others, symbolizing the corpse. Also, you see the Volkswagen Beetle in the background. The license plate read LMW 28 if. So this was happening at a time when Paul McCartney was 27. God, he would have been part of that 27 club of all the famous people that died at 27. This was going on when Paul McCartney was 27. 28 IF. If he would have lived, he would have been 28. And the LMW stood for either Linda McCartney Weeps or Linda McCartney Widow. Now, I know this seems really silly to many of you, but I'm telling you, to a young generation, this was really compelling stuff. And it's interesting when you're told that something says something, you actually do tend to hear it, even though it's ridiculous. I mean, you know what came up on the radio show today on WWL was the song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. And since this is YouTube, I can kind of explain this a little bit. There were 2 points in Louie Louie that were supposed to be obscene. And I remember at the age of 15, I remember sitting down with like 3 girls sitting on the floor by the turntable and playing the song and telling these other 15-year-old girls, this is what this song is saying. And they're all going, oh my God, I can't believe that. In Louie Louie, there's a part where they allegedly say, blank a girl, F a girl, all kind of ways. I know it's you two, I can say it, but I don't need to. F a girl, all kind of ways. And there's another part that says, stick my finger up her hole of love. Now, when you're told that's what it says, go listen to the song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. When you're told that's what it says, I'm telling you, that's what you hear. That's what I heard. I actually believed that that's what they were singing. However, the FBI actually got involved in investigating this, and at the end of the FBI investigation, they could not determine exactly what they were saying, so the song was not considered to be profanity. And so the same thing was with the Paul McCartney rumors that Paul was dead. He's saying, turn me on, dead man. Or he's saying, I buried Paul. And then there was the clue in that song, Glass Onions, that, here's a clue for you. Paul is the walrus, and the walrus was supposed to represent death. So it's interesting how boomers have a lot of experience very early in their lives with conspiracy theories. I'm Scoot. Thank you for joining me on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I hope you become a subscriber, and I welcome those of you who are new subscribers. We'll do something nice for you. We'll figure out some way to do something nice for those of you who have a special offer, something for those of you who are subscribers. We're still just, building this. It's going to take time, but you're in on the ground level of this, so thank you for being here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it's free, and we give you a personal notice every time we post something if you subscribe, so please do. And join me on my radio show on WWL in New Orleans. You can go to our website, wwl.com, and stream the show. Locally, it's 870 AM, 105.3 FM throughout the New Orleans area and the Gulf South. And you can also download the app Odyssey, AUDACY, and type in WWL. And you've got us wherever you have your phone. And I'm on 1 to 4 Central Time in the afternoon. Tomorrow I'll be listening for the Doobie Brothers Song of the Day. When I play the Doobie Brothers Song of the Day, you take the title and go immediately to our website, wwl.com/contest, and you're registered to win tickets to see the Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald at the Smoothie King Center here in New Orleans, Saturday, October the 23rd. Thank you for joining me here on Scoot on the Air YouTube.